everybody. Thanks for tuning into Hollywood Live. We love it when you're here. You know what? God saved Texas, the price of oil. It's another story that we did not know about, but we do now because filmmaker Alex Stapleton is here to tell us all about her documentary, which is just premiering on HBO. Alex, congratulations. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. This is again another story that why didn't we know about this? This is the story of the oil industry in Texas that has affected not only your family, but so many families that are, black and brown and indigenous people. It's like, killers of the flower moon all over again, except we didn't know about this story either. Tell us about your experience in your family and how you been involved in the story because I know your family's been there for 200 years.
Yeah, you're exactly right. These are stories that have not. That you don't learn these stories when you go to school, and especially in this state. I find it really interesting that I took 2 years of Texas state history growing up here in Texas in Houston, and how many omissions are intentionally left out of the history books when it comes to the state of the history of the state. That it coincides with the myth of Texas, and I think the state, the powers that be here have worked really hard to build this narrative around what Texas is, who found it, who created it,
Right.
who did everything, and then who also gave us all our freedom.
Oh,
And
yeah, there's that story.
there's that story too, and to really cherish and respect the places like the Alamo and the San Jacinto Monument, because that's about our founding fathers and what they did for all of us. And that is just it's BS. Texas was a slave state. It was deeply embedded with slavery, and the white settlers who came here, indigenous people were already here, but the white settlers who came in, they forced, the black folks that they enslaved to come here to the state, to work, into forced
Mhm.
labor. And that created a lot of wealth for the state of Texas. And when the state went to war with Mexico, it was not about freedom. It was about the fight for the white settlers and enslavers to keep their slaves. Mexico had outlawed slavery, and so had other countries in the Western world. And
Right.
we in Texas refused to let go of that. So that's what the battle was fought over. And I was embarrassed to find out all of the depths of this
Mhm.
history, through the making of this story. My embarrassment went to outrage, and then my outrage now is not excitement, but my outrage now is, I feel like a call of duty,
Right,
for
right.
this story to get out there and for more of us to really take back the narrative and publish what really happened.
Mm. Yeah, and again, it's about everybody knows how rich the state of Texas is, and it's because of oil. But again, just like in Oklahoma, basically the people, as you said, the slavers came in and pretty much stole the oil. How did that affect your family directly? Because your family, like you said, came there 200 years ago to the Houston area as slaves. Because 200 years ago, that's what black people were in America. Everybody was a slave, pretty much, except for a few free people. So, how did it affect your family? And was it land? Did you again, was land taken from the family that had oil on it? Explain to everybody what the story really is here.
There's at the turn of the century, Spindletop was the first big gusher that where these white men, found oil, and it revolutionized, this area and the whole Gulf Coast region. My family was here. We were in Galveston, and not too far away from where Spindletop was, which was in the now city of Beaumont. Um,
Mhm.
And it was really hard to find out where Black people were in this story. There are tons of Black people that were also living in Beaumont, but they were not allowed, to be a part of this great, this boom, this oil boom that started. My family specifically, we weren't a part of it. My ancestors were in Galveston. Once they had their freedom, they, migrated over to the Houston area, moved into a community called Fifth Ward. And then from Fifth Ward, my great grandfather moved into one of the first master plan Black communities in America called Pleasantville. He was a Pullman porter and had 11 children. And he moved to Pleasantville and he owned his home. He was a part of the first wave, of Black folks in mass, that were able to own their homes. Yeah. And that's great, and you think my great grandfather, his grandfather was enslaved less than 50 miles from where he bought his home. So that's his great achievement. But the problem is that the neighborhood of Pleasantville is on the east side of Houston, which is very near the ship channel, which back in the day, it used to be the way that they got cotton out of the state. But when oil took over and that became our industry, the ship channel then was changed and expanded and became a way for us to move oil, out of the state. And then all the petrochemical, plants and refineries started to appear around the ship channel, and this whole massive, now it's a complex, of industry right there, and all of the historical Black communities, and even the Black and brown communities that are there as a result of the growth and the lack of zoning laws, as well as like no real oversight over industry and what they're doing. As a result of that, the neighborhood of Pleasantville, that once was a jewel, is now is being choked. It's completely surrounded by chemical storage, warehouses, and it's caused it's wreaked havoc on the neighborhood, both from a medical standpoint for my family's, for their bodies and well-being, but it's also wreaked havoc, with our homes, and from the prices of real estate to homes, being having contamination, inside. And so that's where we are today.
It's, how do I even say this? This has happened so much in American history. And the bottom line is that it eliminated many people of color from having, economic wealth, family, like growing their families and being able to be economically viable. Certainly, we look again in Oklahoma, it's the same thing, and it's all over America. And now we're at a point where, like you said, the communities are contaminated as a result of this, and we still didn't get anything out of it other than death and contamination. What do you want people in doing this documentary? I'm sure it was helpful for you, but what should we be doing about this right now? And then again, you're looking at Texas, and you've got the whole immigration thing going on. I think the president is headed down there again today. Yeah, today, and then you've got Crazy Man coming down there as well.
Right.
So this is not change. What should we learn by watching your documentary, God Save Texas: The Price of Oil?
I'm gonna because of the president and Trump both being at the border today. I do want everyone to know that this is a trilogy. This is a part of. There's two other films that are in this series. And one of them was directed by a brilliant filmmaker, Ileana Sosa, who's from El Paso, and her whole story is about, the back and forth of El Paso, the sister cities of El Paso and Juarez, and the communities that live there, and her family. So I think that. And the other film is Rick Linklater, who is from Huntsville and talks about, prison as an industry in your hometown. So I think that my goal with The Price of Oil is I want people to watch it. I hope that a few things happen. I hope that there's a lot of ugly truths that you learn in this film, but there's also a lot of Black joy, that I also think is celebrated in the film. And so for my family, I wanted us to see ourselves on the screen. I wanted
Mhm.
us to see our generational story, be preserved. And I hope that that inspires more Black filmmakers to do the same. I wanted my family to see, and I want communities, fence line communities all over this country, to see that you are being gaslit, and when they tell
Mhm.
you, like, they tell you a million things to make you think that it's okay. It's not okay, and I hope that that kind of changes our perspective slightly. I hope that people wake up, to what's happening. I think if you live outside of the state of Texas, I hope that you pay attention to what is happening here with all of these issues, because how goes Texas is how goes the nation, and what is happening here is a blueprint for what I
Mhm.
believe, very conservative older white men want for this. They're not even older; they're
Yeah.
all ages, that they want for this country to, erase histories, control us, to strip away our rights, reverse, the clock, going in the other direction. But it's also a blueprint for what we can do to change it. There are so many activists on the ground. There are so many resources, that are happening in real time in Houston, El Paso, Huntsville, all over this state, of people that are fighting the good fight. And I hope that, people, like, get involved, and I hope that Texans get involved. I hope that we vote,
Yes.
and vote in the, vote at every stage, because it's kind of life or death, this year. And with this election, we've got to vote in our interest. And I hope that this film and this series is a vehicle that can be used, or a calling card, just a motivating factor, if you will, to inspire people to vote, to learn more about these issues. And if you're out of the state, stop talking about us as if we're this two-dimensional place to just throw away. When you want to dismiss, the state of Texas for the horrible things that our government is doing, I understand that, but understand that there's a community of people here, and we are humans, we are people, we have history in this state, and we're working really hard. And we hope that you join us, to create real change here, and for this country.
Wow. Nothing else needs to be said. Congratulations to you. And by the way, this is just one of the many brilliant stories you've told. You've got quite a great documentary career going, and we'll be hearing from you for a long time to come. So, Alex, thank you. Everybody out there, God save Texas. The price of oil is a must see. It's currently streaming on HBO. And is there any place else we can see it? Right now, it's HBO, correct?
HBO Max, I think, is the streamer name.
Right. Yeah, HBO Max, and then hopefully I can just find on my regular HBO, which is, I guess, the
Yes.
cable or I don't know.
Yep.
Okay, Alex, thank you so much. Everybody else out there, have a great day, great evening. Take care of yourself and somebody else. Thanks.